morning to you. Hey, what's good, everyone? It's Kulev, booted out the bay, living here in Matsushige. Lately I've been actually enrolled, thanks, big ups to my pops, in this writing class. So, anyway, I've been working on some things, and it's basically some fiction based on, true stories of the edu hustling lifestyle, the education. So anyway, I'm going to read this piece. Let me know. Remember that old Roots album, Adil, Do You Want More? So just let me know, do you want more? Here we go. So this is in context of the story. If you want to hear more, then later on, some more will come out. After a dope spliff session with her old-time partner Carla and too many laughs, she popped into the old independent book record store that always looked on the verge of closing. Luckily, it was open. Maria gave an upward head nod to the cooperative owners and proceeded to peep out the used hip-hop vinyl they had arranged in primary color coordinated milk crates. After looking at albums and singles she used to dig, she almost by habit checked the reggae section, then the jazz, and just for fun the indie punk section as well. She meandered to the newsstand and eyed the various papers, but not really in the mood for Bammer Bummer news. Just after looking at the local independent papers, she noticed one titled The New Times, with the kind of futuristic looking font. Maybe it was Futura, but she couldn't recall, and her session with Carla was just peaking, so whatever. She picked it up and looked at some of the headlines, which read, United by Superficial Similarities, Youth and Racism. Another read, World Misleaders Confess They Were Just in It for the Dough and the Blow. Still another, New Map of Africa, redrawn by Indigenous Women's Collective. An article next to it read, Imperialists unanimously agree. Our shit was whack and we quit. Another one read, Alienating oneself to perfect a craft for money caused by addiction to shiny junk and meaningless praise. Even another read, War, finally proven to be more boring than peace. And finally one she found particularly interesting read, Teachers con to brainwash youth for capitalism. Revolt. All these outlandish titles reminded her of The Onion, a satire newspaper. But she read through a few of the articles and sure enough, they were chock full of quotes, references, and oddly enough for a newspaper, had scholarly footnotes to boot. The article about youth ending racism by superficial similarities was especially interesting. Quote, yeah, like we figured if you're separated by superficial, mostly mundane shit, why not unite around superficial, mundane shit? For example, we figured out most of us cried or cooed in similar voices as babies. Before you acquire your family accent and whatnot. So we went with it. Stuff like that, once you peep it out, like having eyelids or pubic hair. We started to realize there were just as many seemingly superficial ways to relate to each other. In fact, to date, we found 7,459 superficial similarities, just on the lower half of the body alone, that young people around the world can start unifying around. End quote. The article went on to quote leading biologists and scientists in various former world colonies who agreed. Said one scientist/doctor in Nairobi, quote, yeah, if we can be so divided by melanin levels in our skin, why not unite around the iron in our blood or the salt content in our sweat? Furthermore, we've discovered that most of the superficial ways we've been trained to hyper-focus on are primarily caused by a type of constant reinforced hypnosis, especially heightened through the use of mass media, now social media, etc. So if we utilize things such as roots reggae, for example, that can hyper-focus on the themes of one love and one blood, etc., then we can surely beat back the Babylonian vampires, end quote, she said with a hearty laugh. Maria thought she was tripping extra hard off that OG Kush hybrid her and Carla had shared. So she pinched herself, and sure enough, she was all right, and maybe even extra double conscious, if such a state existed. Surely with the right herb it could. Anyway, she was extra elated and felt like how did she ever not know about this dope-ass paper? With that, she fired up to the register, thanked the tattooed cornrowed fella, perhaps of islander descent. Wait, she thought, that's that superficial division hypnosis again. She looked again, actually the being in front of her, who said, that's a dope-ass paper. You must be on the level, and he winked. Now she saw that he was an intergalactic comrade, who was possibly there to reassure her that help was there and more was on the way. Yep, she replied. I've never seen this before, so I definitely knew I had to bring it back to the pad and share it with my roommates. How long has it been out? The intergalactic comrade replied. You know, I'm not exactly sure, but it seems only certain people ever notice it. You feel me? They both chuckled and agreed that it was a bit mysterious. She thanked the comrade again, and he told her if she was interested, a group of readers held a discussion there in the back room every third Thursday of the month to discuss the articles and whatnot and whatever she wanted. And if she wanted, she should pop by. Hell yeah, she replied, and with that they gave each other an international comrade dap, and she bounced. That just happened, she thought as she footed it back to her dented used Honda that awaited in the fluorescent lit free parking garage. Bam! That's my piece. Hopefully in a longer piece, but do you want more? Tune in. Cool Lev, I'm out. Oh, go Dubs.